We're here to discuss the importance of ensuring taxpayer dollars yield a real return when invested in IRS modernization efforts. The need for a modernized IRS is clear and urgent, as we have heard today. Taxpayers deserve an agency that keeps up with the times, operates efficiently, and acts responsible fiduciary of the American people's money, which is, I believe, what the IRS was intended to do. Modernization isn't just about convenience, it's about safeguarding taxpayer information and delivering a better customer service experience to the American people. They're entitled to this. We know that deploying new, efficient, and secure digital tools could save the federal government billions of dollars. Unfortunately, the IRS has struggled to deliver these intended outcomes, and rather than investing in new and more secure technologies, which is somewhat puzzling to me, and we'll get into it, the agency continues to utilize decades-old systems, which only make sensitive taxpayer information more vulnerable. Mr. Sepp, by now we are all well aware of the legacy systems at the IRS. Not only does the IRS continue to utilize hundreds of old and obsolete systems, including fax machines to store and analyze and transfer sensitive taxpayer information, but the IRS also fails to attempt to improve these systems. And look, let's be real, it looks like I just graduated from high school 2 days ago. I haven't even seen a fax machine out in the wild. I mean, anyone here that is working in technology or innovation in business and technology, or even for the public, government to operate off for the American people, I don't even know what a fax machine looks like, excuse me. It is confounding to me, and I understand that to a certain extent you may say it's more secure because of a phone line, but I'm not buying it anymore. It's 1960s technology. I was born in 1988. We need to do better. Going back, Mr. Sepp, can you speak to the risk associated with continuing to use and failing to maintain or update these legacy IT systems, especially considering the sensitive and private taxpayer information that is stored on them?
Yeah, there's a huge risk. It's not only a 6103 risk with disclosure being in play, but accidental data breaches that could be massive. I mean, how many other agencies have 1 billion individuals on their master file? I mean, that would rival Social Security, if not exceed it. And again, GAO has said since 2018 those systems are vulnerable. If we don't devote the resources to that kind of security and we continue to worry about fax machines and keeping them up, we are headed for a major disaster. And I would just point out, we still don't have a clear idea of the milestones that the IRS intends to make with modernization and whether they're keeping them. Paperless processing initiative is one of them. By this year, the service is supposed to have all paper tax forms digitized. I don't know, maybe someone on the panel knows, have they met the 100% goal yet?
We know the answer to that.
You do?
Well, I'd speculate, so I shouldn't say I know the answer, but I would speculate that we know the answer to that. And throughout all these conversations, I would think to truly believe that the IRS would do something to meet somewhere in the middle amicably between a fax machine and where we are today in 2025, which I think is pretty reasonable that there's some other system that could be put in place that would be a lot more safe, secure, and protective of the American people's sensitive information as we are talking about here today. And you know what? This is where I see maybe a need for an outside individual to look at something like the IRS to make sure it is running more efficient and responsible for the American people, as we still have fax machines that are still in an agency which is 1960s technology, which confounds me up and down. So, you know what? I'm glad for Mr. Musk, and I'm glad that he is doing what he is doing with the federal government to clean this nonsense up and to make it more secure and more safe for the American people. Mr. Ladwa, I'm going to do my best to squeeze this one in. If not, we'll try. I'll just go right to the question. Can you provide us a real-world example of tax agency utilizing AI and how this technology can help improve operations and efficiency?
Sure, Congressman. So I'm bound by some privacy agreements from our customers, but I can certainly get back to you and your staff in terms of references and maybe even contacts to said tax agency. But let me answer your question on how they're doing it. So we talked a lot about AI. AI is lots of different things, not just chatbots. So one of the use cases we have is embedded machine learning, so embedded AI, which doesn't essentially leave to go outside of a sort of consolidated system, which is owned by the government, for example. And we're using things like predictions of taxpayer behavior, so we can be more empathetic to the taxpayers who can't pay, and a lot stricter and with higher enforcement for the taxpayers who basically are not willing to pay or are trying to do some fraudulent activity. And we've got examples of that. And I said in my statement, 5% return on investment.
Thank you, Mr. Loudon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman from New York.